Working. With regards to the agenda, we will have, first of all, a sort of training on what citizens, energy and finance and crowdfunding are by Joseph Weber from Regea. Regea is both a covenant of mayor supporters and one of the enabler of the Citizen-Led Renovation. Joseph will also present us several case studies from Croatia on how citizens finance or crowdfunding were used. And then we will go into a deeper case studies in Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes on citizen collectives by Grégoire Tournier or Laurent Chanousseux. Apologies for how I'm pronouncing your surnames. From Oradozo in France. Oradozo is also a covenant supporters and one enabler of the citizen-led renovation. Then we'll have a Q&A sessions and we'll conclude the webinar presenting you some upcoming opportunities for further learning or financing related to this topic. So before we move to the presentations, very quickly on the two organizers. One of them is the EU Covenant of Mayors for Climate and Energy. This is the largest initiative at European and global scale for local authorities on climate and energy. At European level, we have more than 11,000 signatories, meaning 11,000 municipalities. More than 10,000 of these municipalities come from the European Union. And they are also supported by what we call covenant coordinators and covenant supporters. The covenant coordinators are public authorities such as ministries, regions, provinces, and national energy agencies, while supporters, I already presented two of them, but they are basically public or non-profit organizations, meaning local and regional energy agencies, associations of local authorities, and other similar entities that support municipalities in their climate and energy planning and implementation of actions. The initiative was born in 2008, and throughout the years, it adjusted according to the needs of the local authorities, but also according to the EU policies. And right now, the municipalities joining the covenant commit to achieving climate neutrality by 2050, and in particular to implement actions across three pillars: mitigation, adaptation, and energy poverty. The Covenant of Mayors is mainly a community, so we offer several moments of exchange and peer learning for the members of the community. And we launch every year what we call engagement actions. These are actions on specific topic of relevance for the community. We already launched the action called the City Detox. This focused on supporting municipalities in decarbonizing their heating and cooling systems and phase out from gas. And last year, we launched what we call Cities Refresh. This was another engagement action supporting municipalities in combating the effect of extreme heat. The covenant is also a global movement. In particular, we have at European level two ways of bringing the voice of local and regional authorities to the EU policymakers. One is through our covenant board formed of mayors and presidents of regions across Europe that regularly meets with the representative of European Commission and European Parliament. And then we have what we call high-level events, also known as covenant ceremonies. These are huge events once a year. Last year was organized in October, and we had the pleasure to have with us the three presidents of the European Union, President Metsola, President von der Leyen, and President Tutto. And last but not least, there are several reasons to join, of course, the movement, and it's also free of charge. The reasons mainly for local authorities that we provide a common framework for sustainable energy and climate action planning and implementation, and they can receive validations from the European Commissions on both their ambitions and their actions. They can contribute to shaping EU policies on climate and energy. They gain visibility at European and global level, and they can support us in elevate local leadership again at European and global level. And now I pass the floor to my colleague Giuliana.
Thank you, Mariangela, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Giuliana. I'm a communication officer at Federen and also dealing with the communication activities for the Citizen-Led Renovation Initiative. So I'm going to quickly talk about what is this CLR initiative and why it's happening. So Mariangela, yes, perfect. So the Citizen-Led Renovation Initiative is supported by the European Commission to support the building renovation in order to create space for the citizens to move forward with their renovation journey. What happens when a citizen decides to start renovation is you might deal with a lot of barriers, being administrative, technical, financial. You have to deal with these technicalities and you don't know how. So this is the space where the Citizen-Led Renovation Initiative comes in order to offer these support services for the citizens so they can act in a collective way to perform their renovation journey. Next slide, please. So we are currently on the phase 3 of the Citizen-Led Renovation Initiative. Phase 1 and 2 were mostly focused on the pilots, meaning energy communities and our support directly to these energy communities. And for the CLR phase 3, we are scaling up this support. So we are working with our so-called enablers, which are energy agencies, home associations, cooperatives. They are the ones being our bridge between the citizens and the financial and technical support that they need. So for the next sentences. So the enablers are the ones delivering the support, and we currently work with a network of 11 enablers located across Europe, and each enabler is currently working with 3 or more collectives, meaning energy communities, and they are the ones identifying the issue and what kind of support they need. So this is a bottom-up approach. We are testing the innovative models of the governance and upscaling the project so we can deliver these building renovations. So for the next one, please. So our current neighbors are located all across Europe. They are, as said, energy agencies, associations, and consortia. No, you can go to the next one. And what kind of support these so-called enablers are currently delivering? They are the ones managing the legal and the technicalities of these renovations. Whenever you're starting your home renovation journey, you are faced with these barriers, and we are the ones supporting to tackle these barriers. So for the legal support, for the technical support, and how to improve the organization of these communities so they can have access to this information. So for the next one, please. No, the other. So here we can see the 2 main supports that the CLR initiative is delivering, meaning the financial assistance. So when you are delivering your renovation, you have no idea how much this is going to cost and how to access this funding. So the enablers are the one connecting these communities to the funding schemes and also making sure that people are engaged and making sure that they are motivated to continue this journey. Even though we have some barriers along the way, these communities, they are all in one main goal, which is to provide, first of all, lower energy bills, and second of all, more comfort in their houses. So they are, the enablers are the one motivating these people and explaining to them the benefits of joining a citizen-led renovation collective action. So thank you. And now, for the 2 upcoming presentations, we have 2 of our enablers, one from Croatia and the other one from France, to explain to us the activities that they are carrying out, not only under the scope of the CLR initiative, but also providing us more information about their activities as energy agencies. So thank you. And Mariangela, back to you.
Wait a second. Okay, thank you, Juliana. And now I give the floor to Josip Weber from Regea.
Thank you, Mariangela and Julia, for a wonderful presentation. My My name is Josip Beber from a Regional Energy Agency in Croatia. Next slide, please. So basically, we are currently roughly 50 experts that cover energy, climate, infrastructure, and project development. We operate across 4 counties in Croatia, which is also a city of Zagreb, which actually means that we work with directly with over 1 million citizens in the Croatia, which is third of the country. Over the past years, we have supported and triggered more than 50 millions of investments, and we have implemented more than 60 EU-funded projects. And why is this important? It's important because our role is not only technical as an agency, but we also work on structural projects with citizens, how to finance them, and how to involve broader stakeholders. So what will I show you today is based on real experience, what works, what doesn't work, and what can be realistically applied in the cities and municipalities and regions. Me personally, I've also worked in energy communities and was a part of crowdfunding campaigns, so I'm a perfect candidate for this presentation about my company. Next slide, please. So today we have cities that are in ever more growing pressure. On one side, we have a strong need for investments in energy transition, in climate adaptation, building renovation, and infrastructure, as you probably all know. But on the other side, we all know that financial models aren't really that evolved that can meet all of these needs. And most of the cities still depend on grants and public budgets, which is still limited. And oftentimes it can be slow. But on another side, we also have less visible problem, which is how to involve stakeholders that we deal with daily, with citizens, organizations, and companies on our regional and municipal level. And when we start projects, they usually don't feel the ownership over the projects, they don't participate, and as a result, we miss the opportunity to build a strong local identity and culture around these projects and investments. And this is where these 2 topics of crowdfunding and energy communities come in. And more importantly, they enable participation, ownership, and create a sense of that these projects actually belong to the communities. Next slide, please. So if we go one level deeper, the issue is not only about limited budgets, so real problem is structural. We all know that financing can be really fragmented. We have grants, public budgets, private financing, but they are not connected in one coherent system. Projects usually do develop in silos and citizens are usually involved too late. That leads to low engagement and missed opportunities for interesting information that we can get from the stakeholders, and weak ownership on behalf of the people we work with. And we also know that crowdfunding and energy communities aren't a silver bullet, but they are part of the solution that is a systemic one. And we know that these 2 concepts, they work the best for small to medium scale projects where citizens can realistically participate, understand the project and feel connection to it. And for a larger infrastructure, there is still a need for traditional financing, but we are also on the point that what is missing today is a model that connects all of these layers: public funding, private capital, and citizen participation. And we see also these horizontal models as crowdfunding and energy communities as horizontal ones. Next slide, please. So when we talk about crowdfunding, for those who don't know the concept, it's really simple. So basically, it's any activity where a large number of people contribute with smaller amounts of money, which together finance an idea or a project. It's typically done via digital platforms, and it's considered as an alternative financing model. But in practice, it's much more than that. It's an engagement tool. It's also a way to test the idea that you have on a municipal level, and as I mentioned, to build ownership. And when people invest, even small amounts, they feel the real connection to the project. So instead of seeing crowdfunding as a financial tool, I would encourage you to actually consider it as a more broader tool for you in your toolbox. One of the interesting facts is that one of the first crowdfunding campaigns was also a Statue of Liberty in New York, where people issued that they seek money for the statue, and they actually found it that way. Next slide, please. Here is another example of a boardwalk on the city level, which has citizens' names on it, and this boardwalk connected different parts of the city. And you, as someone who wanted to invest in the project, got your own board, so you could actually buy your own board. And this is one of the concepts that you can see here. And when we look at the numbers, crowdfunding is not a niche concept. It's getting to be business as usual. In EU alone, roughly 4.25 billion euros are raised through crowdfunding campaigns in 2024, with strong dominance of citizen investors, which make roughly 90% of all participants. This market is also growing rapidly. So we have roughly 7 billion euros today in the world funded crowdfunding projects, and it's an estimate that in 2033 it's gonna be roughly 30 billion euros. And we know from the research that roughly 30% of the projects are energy projects, which is highly relevant today, even for the cities and citizens and all of us. And it's also important to have this model driven by the citizens, institutions, and organizations. Next slide, please. So why would anyone take time and money to engage in such models? So first of all, people usually go in it for financial reasons, where they get stable returns. They can lower their energy costs if they invest in renewable or energy efficiency projects. They get local impact, and trust and transparency is built via these models. And we also have these social effects of crowdfunding, which is building a community and shared ownership. So basically the projects that are founded that way are also projects that lower also the other aspects in the city. And from the practical aspect, it is access to services, simple participation, and there are different ways on how people actually can crowdfund. It's via donation, where the supporters they actually don't expect anything in return. There is a reward-based crowdfunding, where reward is expected from the person who started the campaign, which can be a t-shirt, a product, or something else. There is debt crowdfunding, where you actually loan money to someone who wants to start a project. And there is also equity crowdfunding, where you actually buy shares in the projects or products or company that is starting. Next slide, please. So why municipalities can be motivated to join such concepts? It's to actually test marketing tools and test different ideas on municipal level. They can identify which target or audience groups are interested in the topic, and can have a further engagement. They can promote different projects or ideas. They can explore and test market for specific projects, understand customer motivations and expectations, and connect with new audiences. Next slide, please. So how does that look like in practice? So basically, if someone starts an energy project, then if municipality, for example, started a project and calls out to the citizens to invest in it, then the citizens can lower their bills by this project. They can have fixed or stable returns. They can have co-ownership of local assets, and or they can have different perks. For example, if they invested in organization that is sharing electric vehicles, they can have priority access, they can get community dividends, symbolic ownership, like you've all heard for the boards. They can get visibility and recognition, and they can participate in educational and local programs. They can get access to the services that they usually want get the access to. And here is example of Australian crowdfunding initiative, Haystack Solar, which actually founded renewable energy project, and people in the community they can lower their energy bills. So it's not limited only, the idea isn't limited only to Europe, but it's a much broader term. Next slide, please. So who is who and who you need to and what you need to overcome. So basically, you need a strong campaign leader, initiator or founder, anyone that has a good idea or developed a network that can start crowdfunding campaign, and that network is usually called in crowdfunding terms supporters. Those are the people that support you financially, or they support you by giving additional contacts to the campaign. And what you need to overcome is usually first 10% of collecting the money. And most of the projects in the research, when they pass that point of 10%, they manage to get full funding in the end. And in our experience, we know that it's usually also a good idea to collect even more for crowdfunding campaigns, for example, 30%. Then the success is mostly guaranteed, because if you stretch even before and people see that something is happening, they usually join even more eagerly. Next slide, please. So who you can target? You can target financial stakeholders, and this is usually done for bigger projects. And they usually also expect returns or shares. Those are financial institutions, investment companies, and business angels. These stakeholders usually also offer some kind of mentorship or additional services to crowdfunding campaigns. And we have the second group, which is for small scale or medium projects, which are funding institutions, which is, for example, for regional development, incubators and accelerators, associations and chambers. Next slide, please. So how do you get started? So there are basically three big chunks of crowdfunding process. The first one targeted to build a strong foundation for a successful campaign, which has three key activities. You need to form a team and experts. You have to do a market research and benchmark similar projects, select the crowdfunding campaign that mostly is on national level, but there are some international ones that you can use. And there is also a project development period where you refine the idea, assess the risks, sustainability, rewards, or different other documentation that you need. You also need a business plan, budget model, resources, costs, and you need to target your audience very well, because we know that in this process of targeting, if you use some budgets for promotion, it's best used when you have very well-defined target audience, and it's always surprising to see which people are usually targeted. Then you need to do marketing and context. You need to create a pitch, text and visuals, and have communication strategy which contains key messages, channels, and timeline. So basically, this strategy is the thing that usually people in crowdfunding world, that's the thing you keep your eye on during the whole campaign, because you also need to steer your campaign in the end. And you can also design the rewards if you have donation-based crowdfunding, or thank you note if you have donation-based, if you have loan-based or lending-based crowdfunding or equity-based, then you need to prepare investors papers which contain all of the information on the project. Next slide, please. How to implement a crowdfunding campaign. So basically, in this part of the process, you are collecting the funds and activating the community. A little bit before, you need to define campaign parameters, which is duration and funding goal. These should be kept as short as possible usually, because as you know, in today's world, it's really hard to get attention in the media and in other channels that we are part of. You need to take into consideration legal considerations to check how your projects quotates. In this aspect, you need to create online presence. Usually, campaigns, crowdfunding campaigns, they create a campaign website, videos and visuals, which allow campaigners to also communicate with their supporters, and it needs to be active management. So when you launch the crowdfunding campaign, it should have continuous communication with people who back you up or supporters. You need to give them regular updates which are transparent on how you progress with collecting the funds. And you need to also find a way, if you get stuck, to attract new supporters. So key success factor here is consistent engagement and community management. And the third one is, next slide, please. Is to give a good wrap-up in post-campaign phase. So you have collected your money and you need to deliver the project and maintain the trust with your supporters. Basically, there are 3 operational steps, which is project implementation, financial administration and reporting, and to give something back to the community, being reward, being thank you note, or being a dividend, or percentage of the loans. In the communication process, you need to inform the backers about the process, need to have transparent communication in case of failure, and also it's good time to write down any things that you've learned during the campaign, evaluate the campaign, and analyze it, and to have lessons learned for the future projects. And this is the part where our colleagues call is putting a knot on the handshake, where you actually thank people who backed you up. Next slide, please. The next concept is citizen energy, which is close to crowdfunding because it has a community behind it and it uses community power behind it. So basically, citizen energy refers to collective energy systems where citizens are not just consumers, but active participants in the system. They include energy communities, collective self-consumption models, and shared renewable energy projects, but also much broader terms as also energy efficiency. In these models, citizens can produce energy, consume it, and share it with others, but also invest it in the infrastructure itself. Which is fundamental change of the role of the citizens, which was foreseen by the European Commission, because we all know that the systems that we have, energy systems, they are not the most sustainable ones, and we need additional funding for these systems, and people who fund their own systems, they are also a bit more careful about how they manage and spend their energy. So this is a shift that was happening for last 20 years in European Union. Next slide, please. So basically, it's not a concept anymore. It came with a citizen energy package, which also contains a solar energy, where at least one municipality should have roughly, or of roughly 1,000 citizens should have one energy community. In some references, there is roughly 8,000 energy communities, but in others, there are 20,000 or more, depending on how you actually manage the term. And what energy communities should deliver is to lower the energy bills, produce economic value, and have a higher acceptance of the projects, and reduce energy poverty, which is a key pillar of energy transition. Next slide, please. So these two concepts are very complementary because crowdfunding enables energy, citizen energy. It's a tool that people can use. It can lower entry barrier, mobilize citizens, build trust early, and citizen energy scales crowdfunding via structured governance, long-term projects, stable returns. And all of this is happening now because we do need a bit more clear and stable systems on European level. And it's also perfect time for cities to act because the role of cities and municipalities and regions is quite important, and they have large power in this to actually mandate these models. Next slide, please. So I'll go through several cases of crowdfunding and energy communities that we had in Croatia, just for you to see what are the different possibilities of these models. So here we have Energy Independent School of Ostrokastro Lukšić, which was founded by the platform Indigo, and they had a goal to become the first energy independent school in Croatia, wanted to collect roughly 10,000 euros, and they had 189 backers. And in this process, the concept, for example, the concept was held on a local level. People got drawings from the kids that were used as rewards, and the energy school actually managed to refurbish part of the school. Next slide, please. So they used the money to build solar power plant and change existing indoor lighting system, which wasn't efficient at the time. So it was 2012, something like that. And they had a strong media and technical support for this project, which was really good. And they had a video to showcase why they are collecting the money. Next slide, please. This was actually one of the examples of crowdfunding for energy efficiency. The next one is kindergarten, Our Joy, which is being called Our Joy. And it wanted to collect also the money to enhance thermal parts of the building, to build collectors and to build educational models. So basically, the project was recognized also on national level and got 40% from the national fund and 40% from the city, and 20% was actually funded by the people themselves. 213 citizens were involved, which was a small project, but with strong community ownership. Next slide, please. So they also based their activities to collect the money around their daily activities in a kindergarten, which was tending to the plants, organizing meetings and different shows. Next slide, please. Next case is actually collective self-consumption. So it's not a full energy community, but it's an energy community that that has a contractual level of energy sharing, and this is where municipality of city of Karlovac co-funded project documentation for pilot project of solar PV of 13 kilowatts, where the residents in multi-apartment building would share the energy. This could be one of the most replicable models in Croatia, because there is a lot of interest in Croatia. Roughly 150 multi-apartment buildings, they want to share the energy. Next slide, please. We have our flagship project, which is Pičkovina Energy Community, which is stationed on the Fire Association's building, which is roughly 60 kilowatts, and 30 kilowatts are installed at the moment as a test bed, which municipality co-funded. And there are 80 members from citizens and micro businesses that are actually interested in energy sharing, and each of them could potentially get 4 kilowatts of power shared with this energy power plant. Next slide, please. And as a part of a forum of energy communities in Croatia, Regea stepped in, which already has 20 members in organization, which is network of cities, agencies, NGOs, and initiatives, which include also regional agencies and LUGs. And this group has a mission to enable citizen ownership of energy and develop roughly 1 gigawatt of power owned by citizens by 2030. And it has focus areas such as pilot projects and replication, knowledge sharing, financing and risk reduction mechanisms, policy and regulatory improvements, and active role of citizens in municipalities. So it's basically also a platform for advocacy and to get practical experience from the field to the lawmakers and to the system. Next slide, please. Then we have Green Energy Cooperative, which is actually an energy community that has equity-based crowdfunding. So basically people could buy the shares of energy community and they get stable returns over the next 15 years. The power plant was built with feed-in tariff that lasts for 12 years, and it provides 3% of annual return. And the same cooperative built 2 more power plants, which was crowd lending, and they lent the money from the investors and built 2 self-consumption power plants on municipal buildings as well. Next slide, please. We have Apsirtides, which is the only energy community or energy cooperative in Croatia that has 2 municipalities as a part of their organization. City of Srezes and Mali Lošinj, but also other local stakeholders, from the butcher shop to the communal company Cres. They want to build a power plant of 500 kilowatts. They have collected the money for the land, but also for the documentation, and now they expect energy sharing to appear in Croatia to fully exploit the model. Next slide, please. And as I said, municipalities, they can have different roles supporting these projects, starting these projects. They can be a facilitator, they can offer space, resources, institutional support, and connections. Municipalities and regions, they can partner and co-create, so they can be directly involved in the initiatives. As we've seen in Croatia, most of these initiatives wouldn't exist without municipalities or regions, and they can also share data and experience. They can be an institutional host and steward that offers credibility and visibility. They can offer promotion through institutional channels, facilitate touchpoints between actors. They can also be an amplifier and centralizer to ensure governance of the initiative, inclusivity and alignment with public interest. and they can be contacts and info points. Next slide, please. So basically, energy communities and crowdfunding, they have many similar steps in their way. So they have the central projects, they have the campaign, they usually also have the platform, and they have engaged community in them. So here are several steps that can be common for energy communities and crowdfunding, which is building the core group of the project, defining the mission and scope, find appropriate legal or organizational setup if needed, engage the community, ensure technical assistance, conduct technical and feasibility studies, secure funding and partners, and develop and implement the project, and operate the maintained project. Next slide, please. And we have identified several key success factors down the road, which is access to finance, having strong political support, aligned with broader policies, have transparent governance, community ownership and empowerment, and to have availability of the technical assistance. Next slide, please. That's it on my side. I hope that it was comprehensive for you, that you got enough of the information for you to even start to dig into these topics as municipalities, regions, and agencies, or whatever you are. And thank you once again, Margela and Juliana from Federen to call us.
Thanks a lot, Josip. It was very interesting. And of course, to the participants, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat for the time being, and then we will address them during the Q&A. Meanwhile, I would like to invite now Grégoire or Laurent. Apologies, I don't know if Grégoire managed to connect to present the case study in Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes.
Yes, you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So I share my screen. So I think Grégoire is not there. Or is it? No. It's okay for you?
Yes.
So we are so I'm Laurent Chamisseau, and I work in the Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes Energy Agency. What I wanted to explain you first is that the the Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes region is a very big region with 8 million inhabitants. So we have many municipalities. I think it's more than 4,000 municipalities in the region. And so we have a lot of work, and we exist since many years, and we are working with local authorities to develop sectors, to develop activities around energy transition, and also to produce reference data. Next one. About the energy communities, there are many citizen communities in France, more than 300, and they are organized with regional networks, and all these networks are linked with a national network which is called Oracle. And this is very interesting for everybody because we share with other citizen communities, but also with other regions, our experience and what we do. The objective of citizen communities is to bring together local authorities, project leaders, associative and private support, and some private partners, and so on. So this is the context, and we in Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes here, we are part of the regional network Oracle. I speak today as a member of Income Hub project, which is a live project to develop 22 pilots around Europe, and we are two national regional partners from France, Rhône-Alpes Énergie, and also in the east of France, Alter Alsace Énergie. And in this project, we have support different regional, different local project to develop citizen investment in building renovation. What we wanted to present you is one example of this new activity for the citizen community, which is invest in building renovation. The example is DWAT. It's quite old energy community. They exist since 2016. It's a cooperative, as legal status, and they are investing in different type of renewable energy production, biomass, solar power, district heating, wind power, and so on. So they have a great activity in all the different types of energy, renewable energies. They develop local energy, electricity at fixed price. The objective is, one of their objectives is to have a social impact and to ensure that vulnerable households benefit from these actions. As you can see, there are different members, local authorities, local municipalities, but also energy companies, and citizens. Since 10 years, they have invested 1.8 million euros in different projects. I will show you later. What we wanted to say with this slide is that the equity is very important for them, because it permits them to take the money from the bank to make bank loans, and they need for this, they need 25% of equity, and so the investment of the citizen investment, yes, make possible to have the bank loans. Yes, there are different opportunities for investors to invest in DWAT. The first one is to have a share of a cooperative, classic. The second one is to have a participation in long-term share investment. And the third one is to put money on short-term current account, member current account, just for one project, for example. Since 10 years, they have developed 73 projects that are in operation. Most of them are PV systems. It was at the beginning, but now they have also a biomass project and one wind power project in activity. In 2019, they have created Impulse here in the middle, which is an engineer firm to develop their technical activities. So it's not the cooperative itself that make the studies, but Impulse, that is one part of a cooperative. Yes. In the last years, they have invested in the first building renovation. Invest in the first building renovation, and now they want to replicate this example, and this is why we work with them within the ENCOMA project. The model they want to develop is a EPC classic model, where you know that you have to invest in the energy saving measures, and then collect part of of a savings, and with this savings you reimburse your investment. So during the part 3, the part 3, you reimburse your investment after the EPC contract. All the savings go to the bidding owner. One of the most complicated thing in the EPC is to define the energy savings and to calculate the energy savings. And for this, you have to define really the reference consumption, and also the difference between the situation on the consumption before and the situation on the consumption after the project. And it's quite difficult because some things like climate is quite easy to define, but the use of a building is more difficult to clearly define. So this is one difficulty with this EPC model. About the money, so it's quite classic for an EPC. If you have a overconsumption, the overconsumption is paid by the contractor, and if you have underconsumption, the benefits are shared between the contractor and the building owner. Yes, about the process, so it's classic. First, you have to define the pre-project and to define what is the project and the cost of the investment. So you make an energy audit. Then you have a commitment letter of the building owner. You do the conception of the project. You define all the investment and actions that will be done. You also have in this phase to find the money to invest and to define who will do what. Then you sign the contract with the building owner. You make the work, and you make the work supervision to be sure that the work is well done. And then you have the supervision of the consumption after the reception of the work. It's a monitoring period. For example, I think these 3 steps is 3 years. Yes, is a 3-year long time, and after you have 20 years or 15 years of supervision. So the monitoring is longer than the work. Well, the first example they have set up 2 years ago. You can have here an overview of a building. So it's an old building, and this building has been bought in 2022 by a cooperative to create a place where you can find working offices, apartments, restaurants, and also activity rooms. And the work started in 2023 to renovate this building. Then DWAT decided to invest in the building renovation, and specifically in the energy saving actions, energy savings investments. So insulation, woodwork, heat distribution, work supervision, and so on. And the cost for all this work was 200,000 euros invested by DWAT in the project. About the consumptions and the financial aspects. So the guaranteed energy saving was more than 65 megawatt hour per year, with energy consumption reduction of 55%. So the heating savings was around 6,000 euros per year, and the duration of the contract is 20 years. At the beginning, the building owners have paid 45,000 euros as starting cost, and later the cost per year is with a fixed part of 7,800 euros, and the part of the energy savings, 70% of the energy savings cost. And so the energy savings during the whole contract, 20 years, is quite 140,000 euros. So it's not, it's less than the cost because of the investment of a starting cost by the building owner at the beginning. And that's all for me. I see that Grégoire is with us now, so if you have some question, he can answer best than me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and sorry for being so late.
Thank you, Laurent. Thank you, Grégoire. So now we open for questions. There is a question, I think, for Josip. How can we define the repartition between investors and donators for a specific project?
It was really case to case. So when you have donations, you usually just take anything you can to get as fast as possible to the 100%. But when you have, for example, equity-based or a specific local project, then we usually had a specific terms and conditions written down. So people could transparently see that people who actually live in the municipality or in specific region, they have the right to be first as investors in the project. So there are no hard feelings about that, and that's how we separated those two. And also in some projects, we also had to limit the highest amount and lowest amount, so people could, on average participate, to have as many people to participate. And roughly most of the projects, they are limited to 10,000 euros per investor if there is, some gain to be returned. Not to have one big company come and buy a project which should be in its essential, inclusive and engaging for the people. But we did allow, for example, local companies to be included in the projects, and for example, hairdress salon and people like that.
Thank you. Laurent, you asked the question, so was that clear? Do you have a follow-up question for Josip?
Excuse me?
Was it clear? Do you have a follow-up question?
No, it's clear. Thank you very much.
So for the rest of you, feel free to raise your hand and ask questions to Josip or Laurent if you have any. Okay. And while perhaps I have a questions for you, you presented a lot of cases, particularly for community projects and schools. So for instance, Josip mentioned some schools. Is that a model that you also see applicable, for instance, across industrial parks, or in any case for private companies? Or is that more difficult to have such instruments in that area?
Yeah, for now it's super difficult because crowdfunding is usually more about engagement in people, and especially in Croatia, people think if you are an entrepreneur that you have money to do everything, but you usually don't have the money to do everything. But similarly to Devoti, we have some EPC contracts for public buildings that could be replicated in industrial areas. That could be interested, for that kind of investments.
Thank you.
Regarding the case of France, this model was originally built on industrial projects, but for this kind of project, usually there are other actors. There are no citizen-led financing project on industries as far as we are aware of. That's a bit the same, let's say, issue as Josep just mentioned, that citizens are more willing to finance local activity, small tertiary building and so on. And usually industrial projects have more, let's say, better payback period. So it's that's why usually you already find some actors that are willing to finance this kind of project.
Thank you. Again, I renew the invitations to ask questions if you have any. We still have a bit less than half an hour. But I don't see any hand raised or questions in the chat. So perhaps I will give you a bit more time to think about it. And we have one last very small presentations for you, which is just about upcoming, apologies, it's not for you, about upcoming opportunities, both from the Covenant of Mayors and Citizen-Led, but also from partner projects and initiatives. So with regards to the Covenant of Mayors, we will soon launch our next engagement actions. Is going to be titled Homegrown Energy. And as the name suggests, it will focus on supporting municipalities in implementing projects for locally produced renewable energy, particularly through the establishment of energy communities. And the engagement actions should be launched by early May at the latest. So you can check then the information on the Covenant website, and we will plan several trainings on it, but also we will develop specific toolbox and case studies on how municipalities across Europe are supporting energy communities. Juliana, I give you the floor for the Enercom facility.
Thank you, Mariangela, and thank you to our speakers as well for the great presentations. About the EU Energy Communities Facility, this is an initiative funded by the LIFE program as well, directly funding energy communities to develop their business plan. Last year, we had our first call open with almost 700 applications, and out of those 73 beneficiaries were selected. They have already started with their activities. They are following a capacity building program, which on our website is also open for everybody. And in 6 months, they will develop their business plan. Our second call will be open in the first week of May. And this call is, as said, directly to fund the business plan delivered by energy communities. So in order to apply, you must be registered as a legal entity, comply with the definition of an energy community, and also be based in one of the eligible countries, meaning the countries, the member ones of the European Union, and also those as a state here on the slides: Iceland, Ukraine, Moldova, and North Macedonia. I'm going to share the link of our website here in the chat so you can have a look. And we are also going to have an info session in the first week of May to explain better the criteria, how to apply, and we hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Juliana. Just to clarify, because I know there are municipalities connected, the energy community facility is not eligible. So municipalities are not eligible as lead applicant for the Enercom facility, right, Juliana? But the European City Facility, which is basically a very similar instrument, but for cities, will then open new calls, hopefully in autumn. So don't worry about it. There will be similar opportunities also for local authorities. Then another opportunity we wanted to highlight comes from the Prospect project. This is a long-lasting project funded by the Live City program, and they just opened the first learning cycle of their new contract. If I'm not mistaken, the deadline is on the 24th of April. Anyway, all information is on the Prospect website, and the learning cycle is formed of basically 3 levels of engagement, depending on the experience and expertise of the learners. There is a very first level for early birds or beginners, which is the Prospect community, where municipalities or regional authorities and entities can start their journey towards climate and energy projects. Then the level 2 Prospect learning program. It's a deep learning, a deep training in small groups. Usually it's, if I'm not mistaken, 5 learners and 1 trainer. And then we have the advanced mentoring, which, as the name suggests, is for people or municipalities that are already at advanced stage and are ready to transfer a methodology or a measure applied in another regions in Europe to their context. And this is formed of one-to-one sessions. Last but not least, why it's not moving? As mentioned earlier, we organize as Covenant of Mayors annual high-level events or ceremonies. And I'm very glad that we can already start with announcing the next one in 2026 that will happen on the 15th of October at the Charlemagne building of the European Commission here in Brussels. And registrations and further information should be out soon. And here, of course, is the link and the QR code if you want to get in touch with the Covenant of Mayors. Thank you. Now I see someone wrote in the chat. Oh no, it's Juliana and Irene that shared the link. We have 20 minutes to go. If you have any questions, please ask them now.